we're chopping the top on this Model A coupe, and normally when you chop a Model A coupe, it's one of the easier cars there is to chop because the top just goes straight down. You weld it back together, metal finish it, and you're done. Well, this is not going to be quite that simple. This is what our goal is to have a Lakes-inspired, Bonneville style, dry lake style chop. So in order to do that, I'm getting rid of the visor, which is already gone. And I'm going to replace most of the A-pillar with the front section of a 34 Ford roof, which is right here. 34 Ford coupe sedan, they're all the same, but that's going to be welded onto this top. So to do that, it's not quite as simple as a normal chop on a Model A. And to make it even more complicated, we're taking a lot out, 7.5 inches vertically, which is about 3.5 inches more than what a normal chop would be. 4 inches is probably the standard for a Model A coupe, a 3031 Model A coupe. So we've got it all marked out. I've already taken all the interior wood out. I've been thinking about this for about a year, so I've got it kind of planned out the way I want to do it. And I don't really know how it's going to go just yet. It's going to be kind of a trial and error here and there, but for the most part, I think I've got a game plan. I think if I stick to it, I think it's going to come out fine. But the goal is to look like it's moving in standing still. I think with the 34 header and taking as much out as we are, it's going to look fast. There's so many lines here and there. It's easy to cut on the wrong line or the wrong side of the line. Cut on that side of the line all the way around. I like to try to avoid corners where the two pieces meet up. That way it doesn't pull into the corner while I weld it back together. Using a cutoff tool, and from there I'll use a sawzall in places where it's harder to get to with the cutoff tool. So, but where I'm talking about rounding the corners here, basically all I do is I just cut an angle first, and I'll go back with a die grinder and clean it up to where it matches the radius I've got marked. But it's real hard to get the perfect radius with a cutoff tool, so we're just kind of getting a rough start, and then I'll finish it out with the die grinder. I should also point out that I'm going to cut the top loose first. I'm just making a couple preliminary cuts here when I get ready to cut all this off, but the whole top itself is going to come off, and I'll come back and finish removing the parts that are going to be removed in the chop. So a couple of these are just preliminary cuts, but all this right here is going to have to be cut off, and I will lift the whole top off all at once. since I'm going to be laying the front windshield post back, the A-pillars back, all this is going to change. So to make it easier, I'm just going to cut the top of the door completely off, and we're going to cut it down here because this corner will have to be reshaped and remade. So I've got marks here. I'm just going to cut it all off, and we'll put it back together when we put the new A-pillars on. The hinge is all it's holding the top of the door now. It's loose. So what we're going to do now is cut the A-pillar loose. But before I do that, I'm going to cut the other door. But once I cut the other door, cut the bonds about the A-pillars, then we'll take everything off together because we're not using that part. I'm only using a piece of the door. So for the most part, we're almost there on this. For now, it's giving us some support, so I'm going to leave it in there. A lot of these things in the chop like this. It's going to last very long. I'm going to leave the dash rail support in the car for now. More than likely it's going to have to come out whenever I put the 34 windshield header parts on it, but it's providing some support to keep it all in place right now, so we're going to leave it in for the time being.